Thanks for participating in this virtual presentation of the Draft Feasibility Report and Integrated Environmental Impact Statement for DeSoto County. I'm Colonel Zach Miller, the District Engineer for the Memphis area of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. This presentation is going to give you an overview of the flood risk management and the ecosystem habitat that we evaluated in DeSoto County. The full study can be found on the Memphis Army Corps website, and it's through public participation like this that we're able to incorporate and address your concerns. Our public comment period is going to run through July 12th of this year. After you watch this presentation, I invite you to provide comments at the email address provided in the presentation. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Andy Simmerman. I'm the project manager for the Desoto County Feasibility Study. Thank you for participating tonight. We look forward to your feedback and comments. Welcome to the DeSoto County public meeting for the Draft Feasibility Study and Integrated Environmental Impact Statement overview and presentation. Today we will provide an overview of the document and provide information where you can send comments. The DeSoto County study is sponsored by the DeSoto County Board of Supervisors with congressional support from Senators Wicker and Cindy Hyde-Smith. The photo shown here is at the initiation of the study in 2018. The purpose of the study is to provide flood risk management and ecosystem restoration to DeSoto County. The Draft Feasibility and Integrated Environmental Impact Statement provides the detailed analysis of flood risk and ecosystem components that were analyzed in this study. Based on the federal requirements, we must publicize a report and solicit public feedback and comments. The report was made public May 28th, and we will accept comments until July 12th. The report can be found at the project website denoted on this slide. There are three ways the public can provide comments. Attend USACE's public meeting Tuesday, June 29th in DeSoto County and verbally share your comment that will be recorded, or submit a written comment on a note card at the face-to-face public meeting. Submit a written comment and send by United States Postal Service to the mailing address shown on this slide, or send a comment via email to the email address shown here. The deadline to submit your comment again is Monday, July 12th, 2021. The authority for us to study this project falls under the Mississippi River and Tributaries Authority, specifically the Memphis Metro Area Authorization. The Memphis Metro Authority is broad and enables us to work to reduce flood risk and restore ecosystem functions across DeSoto County, encompassing Nonconnah Creek, Horn Lake Creek, and Cold River basins. The study area is confined to DeSoto County and includes the municipalities of Walls, Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, and Hernando, as well as unincorporated areas of the county.
My name is Andrea Carpenter, and I'm the Environmental Manager for the DeSoto County Feasibility Study. We appreciate your participation today and value any feedback that you can provide. The study watersheds are delineated on this slide with the Horn Lake Creek and Nonconnah basins to the north and Coldwater Basin to the south. We have project features in each of these watersheds, which include Horn Lake Creek, Camp Creek Coldwater River, Hurricane Creek Coldwater River, Lake Cormorant Bayou Coldwater River, Byhalia Pigeon Roost Creek, and Nonconnah Creek. In all feasibility studies, the Corps works through an iterative process with the local sponsor. That study process includes the steps delineated here on this slide. Once a plan has been tentatively selected, the team drafts a feasibility report with integrated environmental impact or environmental assessment elements, and the plan is shared concurrently with the public and resource agencies. The DeSoto Draft Report was published in the Federal Register and released to the public, state and federal agencies, and federally recognized Native American tribes on May 28th. The comment period is open until July 12th, 2021. There are two components to this study: a flood risk management or FRM component and an ecosystem restoration component. The study purpose is to reduce risk of flood damages to commercial and residential properties, critical infrastructure, roads, schools, and medical facilities in the Horn Lake Creek and Coldwater River Basin, and to restore aquatic resources and adjacent habitat by reducing uncontrolled channel degradation and aggradation by stabilizing stream beds and banks. The following slides will walk through the flood risk management elements of the study. This slide discusses our objectives, what we are trying to do, and our constraints, what we are trying not to do, with our flood risk management or FRM study component. Objectives include reducing flood damages to homes and businesses, critical infrastructure, and risk to human life. The study constraints include avoiding cultural resources, minimizing environmental impacts, and ensuring that we are compliant with Federal Aviation Administration regulations and local ordinances. 18 flood risk management alternatives were developed that included structural and non-structural measures. Structural measures included detention basins, channel modifications, rerouting flows, removing constrictions, and constructing levees. Non-structural measures included floodproofing commercial facilities and elevating residential properties. All alternatives were evaluated for effectiveness, efficiency, acceptability, and completeness, which are defined in this table and are also included in the draft report found at the project website mentioned previously. This map shows an aerial view of the tentatively selected flood risk management structural plan. This includes a channel enlargement of approximately 0.8 of a mile on Horn Lake Creek, just downstream of the Bullfrog Corner area, or Highway 51 and Goodman Road. 3 detention basins on the tributaries of Horn Lake Creek include Cowpen Creek, Lateral D, and Rocky Creek. In addition to the structural flood risk reduction features identified in the previous slide, a non-structural alternative is also included in the tentatively selected plan. Residential structures with remaining damages at the 25-year storm event could be raised to the 100-year level of protection, and commercial structures could be flood-proofed using features such as floodgates. Here you can see the results of residential property elevations in the photos. This slide shows the effectiveness of each feature on the FRM streams. You can see that the channel enlargement reduces risk significantly on Horn Lake Creek. You can also see the effectiveness of the detention basins on each stream. In addition, this slide shows the residual risk that is alleviated by the non-structural measures. The significant resources identified during scoping and analyzed in the draft report are shown here. Bottomland hardwood, referred to as BLH forests, and upland forest resources would be impacted by the proposed action due to construction. The remnant forested tracts in the area now exist mainly within the riparian corridor of streams, but still provide important habitat for many species, including several species that are state or federally listed as threatened or endangered. Water quality and aquatic resources would benefit from the stream and bank stabilization provided during construction of the channel enlargement due to a reduction in erosion, channel bed degradation, and sedimentation. Wetlands in the project area provide useful functions such as detaining precipitation, cycling nutrients, which is important for water quality, and maintaining plant and wildlife communities. However, most wetlands in the area are isolated or perched so that they now exist without a connection to streams due to stream modifications and development. Federally threatened species that have been identified within the proposed action areas include the northern long-eared bat and wood stork. No federally endangered species were identified within the study area. A full list of state-listed species is included in the draft report, but includes several species of migratory birds, the American black bear, and several species of freshwater fish and mussels. Our district archaeologist has worked with the Mississippi Department of Archives and History to identify significant cultural resources and is coordinating with the appropriate federally recognized tribes and the State Historic Preservation Office. Other resources that were assessed in the draft report are listed here and include air quality, socioeconomic resources, and agricultural lands and prime farmland. The items in bold include resources we use to determine compensatory mitigation requirements through an ecological model that was certified or approved by the Core Ecosystem National Restoration Planning Center of Expertise in accordance with our policy. This model is a watershed scale assessment that provides information on streams and adjacent habitat using physical parameters and was developed by our colleagues within the Engineering Research and Development Center. This model was used to identify and assess stream conditions, including attainable restoration conditions, describe major water resource problems and opportunities, calculate annual average habitat units, and recommend a strategic course of action for achieving the desired conditions in the study area. Here we summarize the results of the ecological assessment and show the forested acreage that would be impacted by the proposed flood risk management tentatively selected plan. Impacts from construction would total approximately 48 acres of forested habitat and a loss of approximately 1,695 average annual habitat units over a period of the 50-year project life. Habitat units are a measure of the value of habitat in an area. This slide describes the expected compensatory mitigation that would be required for the proposed actions. The USACE is required to replace the value of habitat that cannot be avoided during the construction or operation of a project. This is based on an assumption that compensatory mitigation would be conducted in agricultural lands within close proximity to the project areas. Here you can see the acreage that is expected to be required for each item and the habitat units that would be required to offset losses to habitat. Here we would like to remind you of all the ways to view project information and also the ways you can provide comments. We appreciate any feedback that you may have. The following slides will walk through the ecosystem restoration elements of the study. This slide discusses the objectives and constraints of our ecosystem restoration component. Objectives include restoring and protecting aquatic resources, improving species richness, and improving aquatic resources through stream bank stabilization. The study constraints include avoiding cultural and historic resources, minimizing impacts to fish passage, and ensuring we are compliant with FFA regulations and local ordinances. Significant problems within the Desoto County aquatic ecosystem include channel bed degradation and heavy loss of forested lands. Channel bed degradation causes bank instability, erosion, and eventually bank failure, impacting water quality, aquatic resources, and land adjacent to the streams. 5 alternatives were developed on each of the 11 degraded streams included in the study. Potential measures included grade control and reforestation of available land use types. This map shows a topographic view of the tentatively selected ecosystem restoration grade control plan. Each dot on the map shows a proposed grade control structure. These locations are able to be moved up or downstream or modified to avoid any areas that are determined later to have significant resources or are not available. The reforestation plan would reforest approximately 25% of reforestable land within 100 meters of the stream. These lands may include croplands, barren or fallow land, shrub scrub, and so on. Reforestation is not mapped as specific tracts have not been identified at this point in the study. This slide includes the same resources discussed above, but shows which would be most benefited by the tentatively selected ecosystem restoration plan. This proposed study component would reforest approximately 895 acres of land in Desoto County and stabilize and restore approximately 28 miles of in-stream habitat. In addition, it would arrest stream bed degradation and allow for improved forage, cover, and reproductive habitat in the area, as well as reconnecting isolated remnants of habitat. In addition to those items, this study would promote healthy and diverse habitat, provide structure and restore ecosystem function, and finally, this restoration would benefit species that are endemic to the area and federally listed threatened species including the northern long-eared bat and the wood stork, and would improve the critical Mississippi flyway for many species of migratory birds. Here you can see a summary of the ecosystem restoration benefit analysis. This slide shows how many grade control structures are currently proposed for each of the 11 streams. It includes the riparian acreage that would be reforested, and also the average annual habitat units that would be gained from completion of the project. For a very brief background on the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA. NEPA is the basic national charter for environmental protection, and it requires federal agencies to prepare environmental assessments or environmental impact statements for most federal actions. NEPA also requires that environmental information be made available to the public. Since this work is considered a major federal action that significantly affects the quality of the human environment, we have prepared a draft environmental impact statement for review and comment. Our district archaeologist has worked with the Mississippi Department of Archives and History, 8 federally recognized tribes, and the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation to identify significant cultural resources. Also, we're coordinating with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality, U.S. EPA, and the NRCS. Environmental compliance items would be updated and or obtained after congressional appropriations are received, while detailed engineering and construction plans are being developed. Here you can see the key milestones related to this draft EIS. The Notice of Intent was published in the Federal Register on August 9, 2019. We held a cooperating agency meeting on December 18, 2019. Public scoping meetings were held on December 5, 2018 and August 29, 2019. Currently, the draft report is out for review with comment period closing on July the 12th. The dates of the final EIS and record of decision are currently pending as we work through scheduling milestones. This concludes our presentation, but we would like to give one more opportunity to view the project website and the options for you to comment on this feasibility report with integrated environmental impact study. Thank you for your time and participation in this study.